K-dramas have been growing in popularity across the world for decades now, but they've seen a particularly huge explosion in interest in the 2020s. While some might chalk this up to the success of Netflix's Squid Game, it's actually a lot deeper and wider ranging than that. So what is it about K-dramas that make them so beloved and so addicting? The world of K-dramas is vast and constantly expanding and evolving. So there's no way we could cover everything in one video, but we want to begin with this quick dive into K-dramas and what we love about them. So whether you've been hearing about them for a while but still haven't taken the leap to begin watching, or have been loving them for years, let's dive in. Korean dramas, Korean language TV shows developed and produced in South Korea, have become a major part of audiences' lives all over the world. One report notes that South Korean movies and TV shows were the second largest section of Netflix's entire global viewership, behind only their US content. But things didn't start out this way. K-dramas first began as often historical programs on the Korean Broadcasting System channel in the 1960s in South Korea. They grew in popularity over the 70s and then really began ballooning in popularity in the 80s with the adoption of color TV across the country. Many K-dramas pull in huge numbers, sometimes being watched by well over half of the population of the entire country. Just for comparison, the most watched Super Bowl of all time by percentage of the population pulled in 49.1% of US viewers. After the turn of the millennium, they also began expanding their reach more and more outside of South Korea as well, finding new audiences globally. Some have been surprised at K-dramas' continually growing popularity in the West, given how reluctant so many people have been to having to read a TV show or film. But as the world has become more and more connected, that's been evolving as well.
자막, 서브타이틀의 장벽도 아니죠. 한 1인치 정도 되는 그 장벽을 뛰어넘으면 여러분들이 훨씬 더 많은 영화를 즐길 수 있습니다.
K-dramas are particularly interesting because they combine the new with the familiar. The language and parts of the culture may be different, but many of the plots and characters feel like ones we've known and loved forever. While, as we'll go into in a second, K-dramas certainly don't shy away from getting a little off the wall, they often hew close to very relatable subject matter that viewers can directly connect to their own everyday lives and dreams. One element that helps rope in audiences is actually the consistency inherent within each series. No show is perfect every single episode, of course, but the fact that most K-dramas are produced more like a film, where they have a consistent writer, director, tone, and visual styling across the entire series, makes everything feel more deliberate and connected across the series, as opposed to Hollywood TV production where a show could have a different lead writer and director for every single episode in a season, which sometimes means you can really feel like you're on a roller coaster in terms of quality. Production is incredibly fast-paced, both for the individual shows themselves and for the schedule of new shows popping up. The shows feel responsive to audience wants, because they very much are. While most shows in the US are shot in full before the season begins releasing, K-dramas usually run on a more soap opera-like production schedule where they're filming episodes very close to their time of release. This allows time to take in audience feedback from the previous episode and tweak the upcoming one as needed. Sometimes these schedules have gotten so down to the wire that later scenes of an episode were still being filmed while the earlier scenes were airing. This isn't without its own downsides, though, of course, as it means that the entire cast and crew are stuck in very demanding schedules for the entirety of the shooting season. A K-drama actor explained, "Now, with the scripts provided page by page, 3 teams of cameramen work on a rotating basis, and the actors find themselves in front of a camera without any rest. This may be the only country in the world where the actors stay up all night and wait for the script as they're getting their makeup done. They talk about the IV sets, where everything looks nice on the outside, but things are actually really brutal." A broadcast staff union was formed and had begun helping to improve the situation in terms of working conditions and pay, though there are concerns that backsliding has begun, with the head of the broadcast staff branch of the Korean Confederation Trade Union stating, "We're now shooting for 27 to 32 hours straight again. Official start times are at 7 a.m., but workers are called in at 4 a.m. for rehearsals, and they cannot protest. Without a contract, they face easy dismissal." Both workers and fans alike hope that they will be able to leverage the global mega popularity of K-dramas to begin working back towards better working conditions. And K-drama fans are very dedicated. As with K-pop fans, they love their faves and want to see them succeed. And this intense fandom is another thing that's helped skyrocket the popularity of K-dramas. While modern TV watching can often feel like it's lost that water cooler conversation element where everyone is watching and talking about the same show, K-dramas have huge dedicated audiences who are always ready to talk about what went down on the last episode. We all love watching K-dramas, but have you ever wanted to bring your own story to life? This video sponsor Storyblocks offers unlimited access to 4K and HD stock videos, images, music, sound effects, graphic templates, and more to help you bring your vision into reality. Whether it's a will they won't they romance, a historical rom-dram, or maybe even something a little spooky. Whatever type of video you want to create, Storyblocks gives you access to all of the elements you need with one easy, predictable subscription cost. You can choose a monthly or annual plan, and there are zero extra or hidden fees. We love using Storyblocks because their footage is so high quality, and looks so engaging because it's actually shot by real creative artists from around the world. And it's also so nice that it's always up to date, as Storyblocks is constantly adding new, fresh content so things never feel stale. So if you're ready to start telling your own stories and support The Take, try out Storyblocks today. Use our link, storyblocks.com/thetake, and you'll get 2 extra months free when you sign up for an annual plan. Don't miss out. Go to storyblocks.com/thetake to take advantage of this limited time offer. And that brings us to the K-dramas themselves. They are, first of all, not all dramas, but instead encompass every genre you can imagine. The shows manage to combine a lot of twists and surprises with very well-worn tropes to create a best-of-both-worlds situation where you're simultaneously always wondering what's going to happen next, but also can feel comfortable in the fact that you have a pretty good idea of where things are going to go, usually. The tropes aren't beloved because they're new or particularly innovative, but in fact just the opposite, because they aren't afraid to dig in and be exactly what you expected. It can be comforting to be able to put on a show and, even through all of the tears and troubles, know exactly how things are going to end up. Romantic K-dramas have also become particularly beloved because they feel more like old-school rom-coms that weren't afraid to be earnest and genuinely romantic. So what are some of these recurring tropes? Beyond the classic, wait, don't go, wrist grab, and the ever-looming threat of the white trucks, there are also larger themes that pop up again and again, like enemies to lovers, the classic slow-burn romance type that sees two people who start out at odds come to find that no matter how much they might think they hate each other, there's just something pulling them together. It also strikes on our inner desire to find the good in people, but especially to be the one that manages to see and pull out the good in someone who also happens to be really hot. Fake relationships, pretending to date only to actually fall for each other. Similarly to enemies to lovers, this trope hits the spark of finding deep connection in a surprising place with someone that you might not have ever expected. Financial imbalance. Our main character is broke but plucky, and is swept off their feet by someone with endless funds. Many times their own boss. Being in a financially precarious situation can be immensely stressful, and it can often feel like no matter what you do, you'll never be able to claw your way out. So having someone with an excess of money just come in and wash that problem away isn't a surprising fantasy. This trope does usually reflect rather traditional gender roles, with the guy being the rich one who swoops in to take care of the broke girl, though not always. Sometimes the roles are reversed, like in Encounter. Makeovers. K-dramas love to lean into the idea that you can change your entire life and set yourself on the proper path to success just by tweaking your look. Body swapping. What really makes you, you? And what would it actually be like to walk a mile in someone else's shoes? Body swapping stories are here to explore those questions and more. Seeing the world through someone else's eyes, literally, can totally alter your own perception. Amnesia. Whether it's only momentary after a night out on the town, or more long-term due to injury or illness, amnesia pops up again and again to act as a reset button. It can open up room for new connections with unexpected people, or force an existing connection to put in some real work to prove that the bond is real. Reconnecting. Where a chance meeting in their younger years turns out to have a major impact on their lives when they reconnect in adulthood, making it feel like they were truly pulled together by fate. This trope also ties into the desire to imagine that even those small moments that we forget about, or think that others have forgotten about, can actually be leading up to something bigger. And finally, one of our favorite tropes, found family. While romance is wonderful, finding an entire group of people who love you for you and are willing to be there for you is amazing too. And as we all start to feel more disconnected, our joy in watching found families come together on screen only grows. They also prove that romantic relationships aren't the only types of relationships that matter in life. K-dramas also aren't afraid to lean really far into visual and audio tropes and cues either, from sound effects to on-screen graphics, in a way that's often reserved for the fun of shows aimed at younger audiences in the West. Music is also incredibly important to the experience of K-dramas, both in their use of popular songs and their creation of new songs specifically for the show that go on to be popular in their own right. K-dramas have streamlined the creation of engaging, relatable media that's simultaneously true to life while also allowing us moments of escapism and hope. They show the importance and benefit of our global connections and being able to share our favorite creations with others around the world. They're certainly not without their own problems, but it's no surprise that they've captured the hearts and minds of people everywhere. Of course, this is all just barely scratching the surface. There's just so much to uncover when it comes to K-dramas. If you're a big K-drama fan, let us know your faves and what you think everyone should watch in the comments. And let us know if we missed your favorite or most hated trope. There are so many great shows that are ripe for analysis, so we'd love to hear what you're enjoying watching right now, or your past faves, and which ones you'd like to see us cover more in depth. That's the take! Click here to watch the video we think you'll love, or here to check out a whole playlist of awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications.